Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. In today's video, I am going to talk to you about why most diets fail and how we do things differently at Affinity. So a bit more of a Aurora style video where I've got my notes up in front of me on the screen, I'm talking to the camera, and the idea behind it is I just want to give you a little bit of an insight into things that you can take away and implement right away. So the theme of this video is why most diets fail and how we do things differently in Affinity. Diets don't work, but here's what does, okay? So why do 95% of people regain weight? There are 3 traps that people fall into when they diet, okay? And those 3 traps are: number 1, over restriction, over exercise, and then the all or nothing mindset. Let me just dive into each one a little bit for you. So over restriction is where you're like, I'm gonna start on a diet, that's it. You completely overhaul everything. It's just gonna be salads and tofu from now on, and that's all I do. And it works for a short period of time. Let's say 3 weeks in, you're doing it. But then all that ends up happening is you reach a stage where your body is screaming at you for food, and you go out to a barbecue one weekend and you go absolutely wild at it. It's like you haven't seen food or drink in years. You blow out, your motivation dips, you feel shit on Monday morning. Right, that's it, I'm gonna get back on it. So the salads and tofu come out again. But 3 days of doing it, again, your body's screaming at you for food. Someone's brought in cakes in the office. You don't just have half or one, you have 3. Then you go home and say, oh, fucked it anyway. Let's order in a takeaway. Then you feel shit again. Okay, from tomorrow I'm on it. So you over restrict again. And then you binge out again 3 days later. And this time it's a whole 3-day blowout. And then that whole cycle just keeps repeating itself. It's what we call the binge restrict cycle, okay? Where you overeat to make yourself feel better about it. And the natural response there is, cool, I'm gonna fix this by over restricting. So you go gung ho, you go crazy with it. But then all that leads to is, again, failure, where you overeat again, and you just get stuck in this vicious cycle of feeling like nothing ever works. Because look, the majority of the time you are trying really hard, you are eating really, really well, but it's the fact that you're over restricting to an extent that is causing you to binge out. Okay, so that's number 1, over restriction. Over exercise is the next one, okay? You decided that you're gonna go on a journey. You're booked into 6 classes all week, you're doing 20,000 steps per day as well. Week 1, great. You're feeling great. Wow, I'm moving a hell of a lot. Week 2, great. And week 3, you're crashing, feeling tired. The body's feeling beat up. The appetite is an all-time high, so you eat a little bit more. You only make it to 3 classes this week and you only hit 10,000 steps. The following week, you really rear yourself up to go for another 6 classes. But again, this time it's only 2. Steps have now dropped down to about 5K. And again, appetite is at an all-time high. 4th week, can't be asked. You know what? I'll start again in a few weeks' time. And you just keep going round in that cycle of immense exercise or nothing at all, okay? It starts really, really well, and then it all fizzles out. You jump back on a couple of months later. Cool, another 6 sessions booked in, another 20,000 steps per day, and it all starts fizzling out again. That's the over-exercise cycle that I see people get stuck in all too often. Finally, that all or nothing mindset, okay? Where it's like, you're either doing this or you're not. There's no in between. And that is the biggest reason why I see people losing game, okay? There is no in between, and because there is no in between, they're never maintaining. They're either eating the healthiest in the world, completely controlling their calories and intake, working out, doing their steps, or they're not doing anything at all. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you is, even if you've got stuff going on, you can still keep the needle moving forward. So let's take this example, right? You are on a weight loss journey, you're doing really, really well, okay? You're hitting your steps, you're doing your training, you're eating very, very healthily, it's all within your calories, and that's that all mindset. All of a sudden, one of your kids is sick. That throws your routine off. You didn't sleep well. Couldn't make it to the gym. I couldn't make it to the gym, so I might as well not eat well. I might as well not move. Might as not well drink my water. Might as not well eat anything. Just because of one event. That's now caused you to do nothing at all. When in actual fact, okay, you didn't make it into the gym because you didn't sleep well, so you couldn't get up early in the morning because your kid was sick. Well, fine, well, look, what's stopping us from eating well? We can still make sure our meals are aligned. That's still going to move the needle forward. We can still get out for a bit of fresh air. We can still drink our water. That all or nothing mindset is stopping you. And here's the thing, life is going to keep throwing you these type of things. If it's not the kids are sick, you're going to have a busy week at work where you're stuck behind a screen. Oh, I didn't get my steps in, so I'm not going to eat well. Well, just because you didn't get your steps in that week, it's all the more reason to make sure that you eat well, okay? So remember, there is always something you can do to move the needle forward. You do not have to have that all or nothing mindset. So what do we do inside Affinity that's a little bit different? How do we get you away from these 3 mindsets that are holding you back? Okay, how do we stop the over-restriction? How do we stop the over-exercise? And how do we get rid of that all or nothing mindset? Well, the first thing is structure. We don't give rules, but we just give structure, okay? So a lot of us need a little bit of structure in our life. And our structure basically looks like mapping out your meals. Not meal prep, spending your only day off in the kitchen, cooking food and putting it in Tupperware, but just making sure you know what you're doing when you're doing it. Okay, so what are your meals looking like Monday to Friday? Okay, what's for breakfast? What's for lunch? What's for dinner? That structure there allows you to go into each day knowing exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. No over restriction over here, no rules, but just simply knowing what you're doing so decisions aren't being made out of impulse. Okay? We then sort of understand what you're doing at your socials. Okay, so we allow for a little bit of flexibility. So it doesn't turn into a case of, I've over-restricted all week, or I've been good all week, so now when I'm going to a social event, I'm gonna binge out. Okay, we don't want that. So just making sure that we're being flexible. You're going out to an Italian restaurant with your friends. Cool. In that case, we need to do this for breakfast, we need to do this for lunch, and this is what we'd recommend you get off the menu at the Italian restaurant. This now allows you to be both flexible but structured. So allowing you to do that means that you're not constantly feeling over-restricted or deprived, okay? We then implement training that's realistic, that gives you energy, not sucks it out of you. So I explained in one of my previous videos of how you can create a training structure. We want to look at where you want to train, home or gym. What's realistic to your schedule? How many times per week can you train? And then from there, we build out how long our sessions are going to be. It's taking this realistic approach where you're sitting down and understanding what you're going to be doing week in, week out that allows you to make informed decisions. Another big decision that dictates the mentality that you're going to have going into a fat loss journey is understanding time frame on things. The all or nothing mindset, the over restriction, the over exercise comes from a place of desperation. It comes from a place of wanting results very, very quickly because you've left it too late. So one of the first things that you need to do is sit down and tell yourself that this is going to take 6 to 9 months. Okay? It's not going to happen in a month. Once you accept that you are on a journey for 6 to 9 months, you are going to stop doing crazy stuff and you're going to understand it's a process. You're going to understand that the gold pot is at the end of that 6 to 9 month period. And you can just start being a lot more realistic about certain things. You're now not training 6 days a week. You're sticking to 2 to 3 consistently, week in, week out without fail. You're now not eating 800 calories and then binging on 3,000 on the weekends. You're consistently eating 1,600 every single day without fail. These are the things that you need to do to make sure that it lasts. And these are the things that we sort of coach our people on. And then finally, what do? We coach. It's not just macros, okay? The biggest thing that I've seen, the biggest gap in the coaching industry is that people aren't being coached anymore. They're being given a piece of paper and told off to get on their merry way. They're being checked in on once a week, if lucky, through an email. We coach, we're here every step of the way, okay? We give our members guidance and things like that. And that's something that often gets overlooked. If you've got that accountability system at home with a partner, with a friend, then great. But a lot of people don't. So that's where coaching comes in. Just want to tell you a little story about Sumi, okay? Because she was stuck in that exact same cycle. Over restriction, over exercise, all or nothing mindset. Just having this clear, structured out plan meant that she knew exactly what she was doing as a busy mom of 2 who was working full time. Okay, she knew exactly what her meals were going to be. She knew exactly what to focus on in terms of training, and she knew exactly what to do at social events. And even when life got hard, when there were stressful weeks at work, when the kids were sick, when her meals weren't quite on point, she always knew what to do and which direction to go in. And that is what kept her moving in the right direction. And she lost 18 kilos with us, ran a half marathon from being a novice runner. So that is what you can achieve if you set the right expectations and get yourself out of the trap of over restriction, over exercise, and the all or nothing mindset. So look, if you're tired of starting over, it's time for a new strategy. Drop me a comment if you've ever been burnt by a diet before or felt burnt out. Let me know a little bit about it. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, please drop me a comment, hit the thumbs up button, and of course, subscribe to the channel.